Just getting started with making art on Procreate and you feel overwhelmed by the amount of brushes there are, I got you. Hello, I'm Madeline, the founder and illustrator behind Notebeans Stationery, an art and stationery brand based on 3 lovely characters, and I make dreamy art of deeper stories. I've been using Procreate for the past 6 years, and I know more than ever how overwhelming it was to first open the app and feel really overwhelmed by how many options there are. Do I use a pencil? Do I use a graphite? Do I use a calligraphy pen? There's so many different options. It wasn't until I myself learned from another video from another artist that really taught me the fundamentals of how to render using brushes. So I thought it'd be really helpful if I just walked through my process in doing so by walking through some pieces that I've made. You want to make sure that you're creating constraints around how you bring your vision to life. Although yes, you could spend 20 hours on a piece, I always found it to be more effective to create pieces in a more timely manner, even if they're imperfect, rather than over-fixating on a small little detail of a much larger piece. So we're going to break the brushes down by a few categories. We're going to break the brushes down into a few categories, 6 to be exact. From sketching brush, to hard brush, to soft brush, to line brush, to texture brush, to watermark brush. So to get started, what is a sketching brush? So a sketching brush is used to help you bring your vision to life. Usually you use this in the early stages of your piece. This is really to just visualize what kind of forms are going to come to life. It's really important that this brush is really free-flowing and just feels really fun to use. I like to use a ballpoint pen as well as a HB pencil to really emulate what it feels like for me to sketch using a ballpoint pen and a graphite or lead pencil. I find that if you are able to exercise your digital art side and your traditional art side, you'll find a lot of parallels in your process, and honestly, it helps me a lot personally. The second type of brush is a hard render brush. This is really to place down larger values. We're talking big blobs of color, big blobs of shadows, big blobs of effects. It's really to get a bigger picture vision of what your piece is going to look like. So the first brush I'll demonstrate here is hard brush. So I'm going into the Notebeans Stationery pack right here, going to round simple brush, and then gonna go ahead and just start placing some values down. I kind of want to try it out with maybe the flame here. This is a really fun piece I made. It's called Ember Souls, and it's a whole piece about what I think is about untethered souls. Or tethered souls. I kind of forgot which one is which, but the one where they don't go apart. And I really wanted to showcase like just a creature and its friendship and relationship with like, you can see this as a village person, you can see it as a princess who's in her nightgown. There's just something about this connection that just feels so powerful to me, so really loved it. But anyway, so adding these hard brush details, it's really just a way to put values down. You're not really adding much depth. So look at this super adorable cattail that Dirt Tile is one of my friends and partners in the store actually made. So good. The next type of brush is the opposite, which is a soft render brush. This type of brush is really meant to lay down gradations of color, once again, gradations of ambient occlusion, which simply describes the effect of when a surface meets a shadow and there's more depth there, so it looks like it's fading to a darker value. It's also a really great way to add effects, such as overlays, color dodges, etc. Now with my soft brush, I'm gonna go down here to, let's say, like gouache, for example, or airbrush even. I would go ahead and just, let's say I want to add a little bit of dimension to maybe, this person's dress. So maybe I can go ahead and just kind of add a detail right there, color pick from here, and then just start shading in a little bit darker. So you can see how when combining like the lasso tool as well as, some vision of like where you want to add a little bit more depth, you're able to kind of create really beautiful gradations in a way that it would be a lot harder to do so with like a hard render brush, for example. And then I kind of don't like how dark that is, but another great example of a round brush or a soft render brush, I would actually lower this a little bit Maybe I want to add a little bit of texture to her dress, so I might go ahead and use this gouache to make it feel a little bit more organic. So, you know, I think personally that soft render brushes can serve as both, you know, an ability to bring a piece to life, but also to add some dimension to it. So it's not just about shading, but it's also about creating something that's like unique and has character. So you can see here how it like blends so nicely. And I'm also color picking a lot. But yeah, so that's how I'd use the soft brush. The next type of brush is a fine line brush. After you make your sketch, you might want to define some more detail, or alternatively, when you're adding effects at the end of a piece, this is really where you want to pull focus to your piece and really just hone in on one detail. Sometimes as an artist, it's helpful and interesting to pull attention to different parts. So maybe most of the piece has not too much detail, but the strawberry at the top of a cake has it. And that creates for a very interesting piece. And then the last brush that I absolutely love is the fine line brush. So I'll go in here into notebeans brush pack again, go to something like 6B pencil, and then we're on add mode right now. I'll zoom in and add some detail. So what I love about it that's different from hard brush is that it's really about just getting like detail. I use this brush to actually create like the outlines you see here for the horse itself, for the girl itself. The next type of brush is texture. Texture is really what brings a piece to life. I think that it can take away from the flatness that your piece might have, which is a big misconception, I think, with digital art. There are so many cool tools that you can use with Procreate that I think it can really elevate your piece to the next level. And then we have texture. So I typically love going in here with a texture. So if you go into the pack, I would go into Tarkine or Tarkine, and I would actually take a very like yellow color, something like this. And I would just go ahead and cover the whole thing to kind of create this almost like filter or white balance adjustment. I also do photography, so a lot of my photography knowledge kind of really comes through when I'm trying to make creative decisions on a piece. So I really like how that looks, and it creates a very traditional, almost like linen kind of feel. So I'm really happy about that. And lastly, here's a quick step-by-step on the screen on how to create your own watermark pencil, custom on Procreate, but this has been a hugely helpful tool for me to be able to place my mark on all of my pieces in a very seamless, convenient way, and it has honestly saved me so much time. I've heard a lot of different things about people saying not to put your watermark, but for me, I find that it really keeps my brand, and it is something that will always live with your art piece. And then watermark. So of course, it's not going to be in the brush pack, but in my own personal pack, I have it right here as a mirrored logo. So I might go in with like a nice yellow and just go ahead and add my watermark. Sometimes it inverts when I move my canvas around too much, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put it there. In order to make your own watermark brush, all you want to do is go to the plus, create a new brush. You're gonna go to and then import a PNG file of your logo. I'll go ahead and put the instructions on how to make your own stamp as a watermark up on the screen. And then, so there you go. Now you have 6 different brushes that you can add to your collection. Whether you want to curate this yourself, or you can also download mine. I have a Procreate brush pack available on the website. I'll put in the link in the description. I hope this was helpful to kind of walk through how to simplify your brush process. And I hope that the walkthrough was also helpful. And that's it. Let me know if you have any other questions on anything art related.